Well, hello everybody and welcome back. We get to move on to Grit 2 today for our Tumble With Me series. Last night I did the wash cycle for these rocks and they've been tumbling overnight in that soapy water for, well, since last night. So now it's time to move them on to Grit 2. You'll see the video of me doing the cleaning cycle if you want to follow along with that, and then we'll move on to adding our grit for Grit 2. Alright, let's do it. Okay. So let's take a look at what we have in our tumbler barrel after 1 week. Now this part is always my favorite because after the first week you really see the most change and can really see how much it all grinds down everything. Oh, look at that, that's looking good. So what I like to do first is rinse my lid because I don't know, actually. That's just what I like to do, I guess. And, alright, time for the big reveal. Ooh, alright, they're still looking a little sharp, so we'll see. But then I like to take my barrel and fill it with water so I can not only rinse my barrel, but I can also rinse the rocks at the same time. Ooh, look at the color on some of those. Okay. So let's take a minute here and just really rinse them good. And at this point, usually this is really full. So I gotta dump it. Ooh. That made a mess, but let's not worry about that. Okay. Let's do another little rinsey rinse here. And, ooh, look at those. Okay, here's our jasper, that nice bright red. Look beautiful. Oh, look at that. Some of these are really unique. That's a cool one. I still really like the color variation on this one. I didn't see this one in here originally, but this is like a leopard skin. Ooh, look at that. Like that circle there? This is a good one. It's like, I forget what they call it. I think it's a leopard skin jasper or something like that. I could be wrong, but I know it's something like that. Ooh, that one's looking good too. Okay. Ooh, look how thin this one is. Now, I did stop these like a day early, so technically they've only been tumbling for like 6 days instead of 7. But and I'm just not really sure what to do here because some of them are still really sharp. But I think that because of the type of rocks that these are, because they are like the crushed rock, they're gonna probably remain pretty sharp no matter what I do, just because that's kind of how they already started. So, I don't know, let's just move them on anyway. We'll grab our soap now so that we can wash off any of the extra grit before we move them on to the next step. So of course it is important to wash your rocks in between your steps to really get that grit and everything that could be left behind out of all the little nooks and crannies of your rocks. So that is what we're going to do next, and that is why I pulled them out a day early, but I still wanted to be able to post on Wednesday because otherwise if I did it like actually every 7 days with a 1-day wash cycle, then it would be like Wednesday and then Thursday and then Friday and then Saturday. It would just keep switching like that, and I wanted to try to stay consistent. So if you keep your tumbler barrel on longer, you can always do that too, but it's totally up to you. Alright, so now we have all of our rocks and ceramic media, which again is this white stuff, back in our tumbler barrel. I'm going to take some Dawn dish soap. I don't think it technically has to be Dawn, but just put a little bit of that in there. And of course, can't forget the water. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to let this run for the rest of the night here. It's like 6 o'clock where I am right now, and I'll probably get to opening this again around maybe like 3 or something tomorrow, right before we do like the little live thing. So I'll open this then and then continue to go on to step 2. So let's get all this back on, and I always forget a towel, so I'm currently wiping all these pieces on my pants, but that's fine. And we'll get this twisted on here. We're gonna put this back on, like I said, just overnight until like 3 o'clock-ish tomorrow. And then we can move it on to grit 2. Okay, it is the next day in the afternoon. We have our rocks back again, and I was thinking about these yesterday and how we might end up doing another cycle of grit 1. I just am not sure how much I really liked how sharp they still were after our 6th day, since it wasn't technically a full 7 days. So we'll take a look at them and just kind of see kind of what we think, and maybe end up doing these back in grit 1 for another week. And you can also look at your rocks and see if you might need to go a little bit longer as well. A lot of the times I do find that 2 weeks in grit 1 is actually really helpful. So something to take a look at in your rocks as well. And we can see that the water, well, you can kind of see it. The water is pretty dirty. So we'll dump that. And yeah, see, as you can see, I just think that the rocks might still be, ooh, like look at that, might just still be too sharp. So I think that instead of going on, oh, look how cool that is though. It's like translucent right here. What? That's really neat. Anyway, oh no. So instead of going on to grit 2, I think instead we will just go back to grit 1. So if your rocks are ready to go on to grit 2, that's totally fine too. Haha. And you can just do the same process, except for instead of adding the grit 1 again, you're going to add your grit 2. So here is what grit 2 looks like, step 2 for me. It is 180 by 220 grit silicone carbide. But like I said, instead, we're going to go back to grit 1, which is the 60 by 90 grit silicone carbide. So let's get these put back in our barrel for another week. And I also want to see, you can really see at the bottom too, there's a lot of little broken off pieces. I'm going to try not to put all those in there and just kind of shake them out on my grass. And see if we might need to even add just a little bit more ceramic media. Kind of thinking I will, just because it's not super full. I like it just a little bit, a little more full than that. So we'll probably just add the rest of it. And that'll do it. All of this ceramic media, as you can see, is different sizes because this is stuff that I have used before. So now we'll just put some water back in it. And then remember again, just filling it to the line here. Oops. And time for our grit. So we are going to add, again, 2 tablespoons of our step 1. And first tablespoon. Second tablespoon. Remember to cap your lid right away. And I also want to know, there's what it looks like. How is your tumbling journey going? Are you finding success so far? Are you going to end up having to do like another week of grit 1? Maybe yours were like already ready because they were really smooth. What did you think about like your rocks when they came out of grit 1? Because like that's always my favorite part, is seeing how they change from grit 1 to grit 2. So let me know because I'm really interested. And I also want to know if you're following along. So if you are following along with these videos and like tumbling with me, let me know in the comments. It's just kind of cool for me to see, you know, how many people are following along with the process, which is pretty fun. All right, so here we go. We have our rocks back on, or in I should say, our tumbler. I'm gonna put these back on for another, it'll probably be again like the 6th day thing, and then I'll take them off, wash them for kind of like an overnight, and then hopefully they'll be ready to move on to grit 2. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you liked this video, and if you did, make sure you give it a big ol' thumbs up. If you're new here, consider subscribing to this channel. We'll continue working on grit 3 next week. How exciting. See you guys then. Bye.